All right, with this perspective, I think we should go on and let's have a look at Biden's, or let's say the Democratic Party's vice president pick, Kamala Harris. And well, to me personally, it was not a surprise. I said this for months already, that my money would go into Kamala Harris, because she has everything, everything a woman must have, in the Democratic Party as a vice president for Joe Biden and for the Democratic Party. Everything the establishment likes to see. I think most of us know about her past, where she was attorney in California, state attorney, I think it was, right, or district attorney at that time. We know that people who served in jail were held there longer than their sentence was, because in those prisons, they had some free rooms, and they wanted to occupy those rooms with those people. We know that she went very, very harsh against people with weed, especially black people. We can remember when she was proud to co-sign the healthcare bill with Bernie Sanders, and it didn't took her 24 hours to go to the next meeting, or to the next town hall. I think it was a small town hall at that time, and to flip-flop again, that it is not meant that way, and she will do everything, to fight for the insurance company, etc. And well, the flip-flopping is something we know from her. I found a piece of her, of a scientist. I got the link below the video. And she is examining the role of women, especially black women, in the society. And she was asked by the interviewer how far the black community, especially the women, are thrilled about Biden's pick. And what she said was not quite good for Kamala Harris. If you look at the primaries, where she was only ranked third or fourth of all candidates, favorability, she did not resonate with the black community, And in this article, it is clearly said that she is no one which is preferred by the black community. There's one question: how do you think Harris will shape Biden's campaign and his policies differently from other women on his shortlist? And there she says, I think she will be asked to be the intermediary around Black Lives Matter policy. I think she'll be asked to move the agenda closer to the center-right in ways that are palatable to voters. This is exactly the thing which the black community doesn't seem to buy from her, because she is not a black African American, and this is one aspect. The interview says another aspect for the community is that she is married to a white male, and there's much difference to what the people felt at the time. For example, with Michael Obama, with Michelle Obama at that time, because she had the black community had the feeling that she is one of them. And with this constellation, nobody in the black community has the feeling that there is something. They were taking care of the black people there, and with her history as a prosecutor, well, it doesn't show her in a good light, And what is astounding is that that lots of people, even from some liberals or progressives sometimes, are happy with the pick, and it is interesting. She explains all this, and the question was, I'm wondering about the people who will be really, really excited to vote for her. Is the ones who will be knocking on doors with Kamala signs and donating money because she's on the ticket? Who are those people? And the answer is, they are my good white liberal friends, the people who will feel really good about voting for a black woman, the people who are supportive of Black Lives Matter, who are sending checks, who already have been who already have their Biden law signed up. They don't understand how black people might see this pick from a different point of view, and well, I don't know in how far she has a couple of weeks time, to turn the view of the black community on her, but well, it is not the first pick of the black community, as she's labeled to be the solution for the Democratic Party, to reach those voters. Yeah.
She's betrayed them over and over. I mean, look at her statements on the Colin Kaepernick take a knee. She said that was conspiracy pushed by Russian bots. No, it wasn't.
Yes, there's only one example. I also got one, and also if you can show the video. I think this one shows really who Kamala Harris is.
Be standing here were it not for the education I received. And I know many of us will say the same thing. And I believe a child going without an education is tantamount to a crime. So I decided I was going to start prosecuting parents for truancy. Well, this was a little controversial in San Francisco. And frankly, my staff went bananas. They were very concerned because we didn't know at the time whether I was going to have an opponent in my re-election race. But I said, look, I'm done. This is a serious issue, and I've got a little political capital, and I'm going to spend some of it. And this is what we did. We recognized that in that initiative, as a prosecutor and law enforcement, I have a huge stick. The school district has got a carrot. Let's work in tandem around our collective objective and goal, which is to get those kids in school. So, to that end, on my letterhead, now let me tell you something about my letterhead. When you're the DA of a major city in this country, usually the job comes with a badge. And there is often an artistic rendering of said badge on your stationery. So, I sent a letter out on my letterhead to every parent in the school district, outlining the connection that was statistically proven between elementary school truancy, high school dropouts, who will become a victim of crime, and who will become a perpetrator of crime. We sent it out to everyone. A friend of mine actually called me and he said, Kamala, my wife got the letter. She freaked out. She brought all the kids into the living room, held up the letter, said, if you don't go to school, Kamala's gonna put you and me in jail. Yes, we achieved intended effect.
Yeah.
This one personally pisses me off because I was that single mother with teenagers and I was constantly in juvenile court for truancy. And all it did was lay out a lifelong road for my children of problems where they wouldn't have had them before if we weren't forced to go through that system, which was modeled after what she did.
Well, yes. Thank you for this. I didn't know this. It's terrible. And well, when I heard this, I think the first thought was, if I was working for Walt Disney, she would be the perfect witch for my next cartoon movie, perfect. The other thing is I was asking myself, who is she talking about? Is she talking about the Cosby family? But she's not talking about, exactly those are the families who have already problems. They don't need not right. more problems, and especially they don't need not more money taken away from them, or landing in jail or something like this. I think this is ridiculous, and her giggling, that she was so satisfied about her coup, it was disgusting, and I think it says a lot about her, a lot about her character.
The school to prison pipeline, which she's supported her whole entire career. We know that she's kept them in jail past their conviction dates just so she had free slave wages or labor. Not only has she done that, but she hid evidence that led to people being convicted convicted, 1,900 marijuana convictions under her belt. And she wouldn't wipe those records, claimed they had to wait till she was out of office in order to get the records expunged for that, which holds people back in America. They can't get jobs. They can't get applications for loans and things because of these charges that are on them. And then she has the audacity to laugh about it. She's destroying lives and giggling about it.
Yeah.
Regarding that specifically, that thing with the marijuana incidents, apparently she has not done any marijuana cases on their own, like on basis of that, and whatever marijuana prosecutions were done were pushed to other courts. So they haven't really gone after marijuana the way other prosecutors have in that state. So that actually kind of...
No, but the hypocrisy was her laughing and saying she smoked pot while listening to Tupac, but yet she destroyed people's lives. She did prosecute. They may have pushed some of those cases off towards the end, but she did. She did prosecute marijuana smokers.
Well, not singly as marijuana cases. They were secondary or third charges in other cases. But I see. The thing is, when I heard the news on the day that it was announced, I called Marcus and cried on his shoulder because I felt it was such a slap in the face to all progressives. And I really took it hard. And then the next day I started researching whatever I could about her to figure out what is the truth. So where am I just being affected by my personal? I find
I had to
her
ask
very,
myself that too.
Sorry.
I had to ask myself that too. Am I using my privilege?
I don't know if I was trying to figure out if it was just my personal antipathy that was coloring my view, or if it was anything objective. And I recommend, regarding those times that she was a prosecutor, of which is a lot of talk and a lot of criticism, I would recommend you looking at a link that I put in the notes of Democracy Now! Actually interviewing two people. One professor was a journalist that wrote that she was not a progressive prosecutor, and one the public defendant that worked at the same time that actually says that she was progressive. Both those women are progressive themselves. And it was a very, very interesting and enlightening discussion. I recommend everybody who wants to really figure out what this woman's about to listen to that. I don't like her. I find this clip also very unsettling and unappetizing. But we have to look at the whole picture and to see what the situation is. And when I looked at the
what about her refusal to prosecute pedophiles?
Sorry?
What about her refusal to prosecute pedophile priests?
I'm not familiar with that particular criticism, but I know that she's gone after she's refused to do a death penalty when a policeman was attacked, and they wanted to put the person who murdered him to death. And then later on, because it was very difficult for her to cope with the backlash of that political backlash, and since she needed the police, she backstepped on that. So you could say that she's playing things whenever she can, but she's very easily dissuaded or gets back. And we've seen that also in the Medicare for All, that initially she was one of the signers to it and kind of pioneered in that direction, and then she just drew all the way back. So
pioneer crap. She coattailed it. She jumped on Bernie's coattails so she could be on stage next to him. And then the minute that there was pushback from the establishment, she walked it back.
Yeah, yes. But the fact that she even went there when others did not. What's that?
She was not an architect. We'd already been on the ground for years and years fighting for it.
Right, but the fact that she went all out and supported it initially also means something.
For a week?
It's irrelevant. I mean, the fact
it's
that
she's not irrelevant. I don't see how you think it is that it's relevant.
Because you're missing my point. My point is that she's aware of the power of progressives and where things are going, and she knows at some point she has to appeal to them.
No, they don't.
And because of that, there is more of a chance of being able to push her than someone who doesn't even care about.
That's gaslighting, almost. That's gaslighting. You can't push somebody. No. The only people that are going to push her are the donors and the pleos of the party.
Well, we've seen her actions around it. So let's look at her record. I investigated. I researched her record in Congress with the regular sites that we use for political research, and that's the GovTrack, that's the Political Compass, and the Open Secrets. And if you go to the Political Compass, I've put a slide in there for you. They used an analysis on their end, and no, that's the GovTrack map. There's one with a map with the quadrants. So basically, they plotted all of the primary candidates on basis of their positions. You can see Sanders at the very lower green quadrant, pretty much to the top, and but he's still in the green quadrant. You can see Biden in the blue dot, and you can see where Harris is. And Harris is basically more autocratic than Biden, but more to the left, and she's much more to the left than Buttigieg and some of the other.
Okay, I'll give you that.
But excuse me, Amos, if I got to interfere in this. But what does it mean that she is a little bit more left? She is still in the blue field, you know. And she is, if I compare it, she is miles away from Bernie Sanders, Hawkins, Gabbard. She is miles away. Sorry, you know. I think this is a little bit constructed.
You're correct. We're talking about everything in relations. So if we're talking about she's not worse than Biden. That's what I'm saying. She's a little bit better than Biden.
She's not that. She's not
Biden,
that.
We might as well swallow her. The reason I spent all this time on the research on her is because I feel that this vice president nomination is more important than previous ones, because we have an aging candidate that is losing his mind, and I fear that at some point they will become the vice president will have to fill that role. So that's why it is so critical to understand. If you go on to my map, by the way, I was curious about it, and I plotted my based on the questionnaire. Everybody can go on that site, and there's like basically a line of questions you do, and
you're a fucking communist, Amos.
I'm a communist.
You call me.
So that's that. I was just curious about it. You can go to that. It's a fun thing to do. politicalcompass.com.
Okay, so I just have one question. If she's left of Biden, why did she vote twice with Republicans to cut funding for abortions?
I can't answer that, but
that's not left of Biden, because I don't know. Biden wasn't cutting access to women's health.
I don't know. I don't know what the story is. I would have to research it. I can come back to you next week and figure out what happened. Look at the other graphs. That is the one with the many dots. That's the basically GovTrack. GovTrack is a site that kind of tracks all the policies and the votes and everything of each candidate, and they analyze on basis of that. If you look there, you can see, and they rated Harris as in place of 99 to the left in Senate, right after Sanders. So pretty much all the way to the left compared to Senate. Now you could say that's not doesn't say much, because the Senate is not necessarily a progressive body, but in the scheme of things, to me it has a weight. Also, and that's based on actual policies and things that she's done. For example, she's had the least co-sponsored by aisle legislations that she has signed on to. I looked at what she voted for. Mostly they're not very important things. I think she may have stayed away from some of the critical votes, but the ones that she has voted suggest some pattern. And finally, there's the open secrets. And I was curious, where is she getting the money? Because we know that she has... She is not accepted. She's not gone by the direction that Sanders has, and she has not refused to accept PACs or money or private money. And so that was an important thing for me. Where did her funds go? And if you switch to that slide, basically there's a couple of them. There's the top contributors, and we see that there is a lot of contributors that are media, entertainment, and attorneys, lawyers, and so forth. I've not seen any footprint from fossil fuel companies, from pharmaceuticals, for any of those things that could be the most problematic. So though she's not really gone the way that Sanders has by refusing private funds and gone actually the opposite direction, I think it could have been worse. It could have been much worse. And finally, I found something that goes back to what we discussed earlier of what it is, like the rigged system. And she shows here in that tweet that she does understand the importance of the HR1 legislation that was attempted in the House, and she supported it. And that is really the key to any other thing. If we are to succeed in moving the dial, we need to change how elections are done, how elections are funded in this country. We have to have a much more public funding, and take these corporations out of the dominant role that they have right now. And I think that's kind of encouraging to see that she's at least in principle sided with that. We'll see. We'll have to see what happens. I'm not saying that we shouldn't be pushing and protesting and maybe doing a third party and all of that. But I think that my mind is a little calmer after doing this whole rigmarole in research. And I think comparing it to somebody who's closing in post offices to rig an election and is fully with an autocratic mind, I think I'm much more comfortable with that. Let alone to mention that she's one of the signers on the Green New Deal. That is to me, but that is to me the most important thing right now that we're facing, the most emergent thing. If we don't fix the climate change, we're toast, like Oz said, and having someone who's supported it, even if it just in principle at this point is light years far away from Trump and his guys who are presenting Democrats as negative because they're against fossil fuels. That's a bad thing. So yeah, that's my take on this. Well,
right.
what do you guys?
Okay, if I may quickly, well, I admire your optimism there.
Yeah.
what this woman concerns, I don't have this optimism. Absolutely not. The pick, the vice president pick. I'm asking you guys. I asked Chanda, Ors, Amos. Do you think that Biden picked her or the establishment picked her?
Chris
Establishment.
Dodd was running his VP campaign.
Chris Dodd
Right.
picked her. Actually,
You
Obama.
don't know who he is.
Obama.
Liberal nightmare.
Obama
So
picked her.
It was. So in my reception, it was the establishment pick. The establishment's pick, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
So what do we have? What do we have expect from a candidate who was chosen by the establishment, or what does the establishment expect from such a person? I don't. Maybe this comparison is taken a bit too far, and Amos will protest maybe. But during the Corona times, I had a lot of time, and I watched a lot of mafia documentaries. Because I love the topic.
Me too.
And if you look at this, the structures are similar. If you want so, right?
Gangsters.
The bosses give the direction, and all those guys below them, they have to follow their orders, And as I said in one of the last shows we had, those guys, who have got the money, who got the big money, they don't give a fuck who's president under them.
Yeah.
So don't expect anything from Kamala Harris. She's the establishment's pick, and she will work according to the establishment's orders. Period. My opinion. Jana?
Yeah, I agree. Almost, I'm just going to have to agree to disagree with you. I mean, I could go after so many points. Open Secrets has been outed for not accurately reporting. The Green New Deal that the Democrats are toting is the watered down version that actually enriches the oil industry just from a different perspective. I mean, there's lots of things, but you're right. Marcus, what it ultimately comes down to is she will do the bidding of the donor class. She was chosen by Wall Street. She wasn't, but Biden, come on. I don't even think that guy knows he's running for president most days, and she will most likely become president if he is elected, because what's he going to last? 4 hours, 4 days, 4 weeks?
Yes. She is a president, and be assured the establishment knows how the president should work according their orders, as I said.
Just like Obama. Fall
Just
in
like
line,
Obama.
do what we say.
Just like Reagan. I remember there's a clip on YouTube where you can see it. I think it was the boss at that time from General Electric. He was giving orders to Ronald Reagan what to do. Hurry up, we got to go now. Was he quoted there on the podium while Ronald Reagan was giving his speech? It was always the same.
Well, by the way,
Oz first, please.
Okay, great. Now, Amos, I got to compliment you. That was a great presentation. You left a couple of big points out that I'll speak to in just a second. But I could probably take your presentation and offer a much less thoughtful view of each point you made. However, your points are well taken, and they're how you feel, and I respect your opinion on that. The big point you left out was Steve Mnuchin.
Yes.
Okay, Steve Mnuchin, why in the hell did she not prosecute clearly criminal actions by Steve Mnuchin? And then we see him donating to her campaign. Once again, it's a big club. Kamala Harris is going to be a sock puppet for the establishment. Is it going to be, is the graph you put up, your political ideological group here, what is this thing again? I have done this several times. Now, I submit to you, I submit to all of you, when you're in the blue, you're in the blue. When you're in the green, you're in the green. Looking at this graph, my interpretation is if you want to unite the country, the best person to serve as president of the United States looks like it's going to be Gravel here. That's going to be Gravel, okay? I wish he was young enough to get into the fight because I'd be voting for him today. Truly, I think he's cut of much better cloth than Bernie Sanders as a matter of fact. But you've painted Kamala Harris in a very thoughtful light here. But the dark money that she gets, she's going to go along to get along. She's going to do what she's told because the prize is in the sky. She is going to be the first female person of color president of the United States in my opinion. And she's going to be, if she isn't, she's going to be set up to run as the first person of color in the United States. The Medicare for All thing, I absolutely agree with Shanda. It was just jumping on the coattails of the Medicare for All person, because so many people have said, I don't give a shit who you give me anymore. If you're not supporting Medicare for All without caveats and use the bully pulpit to give us something that's so desperately needed in this time, you're not getting my vote, whether I vote for Trump, against Trump, or for Green Party or anybody else. So again, I think selling the idea that Kamala Harris is probably the best of Susan Rice and Karen.
No, that's not what I said.
No. I'm not, and you didn't. I'm not trying to put you in there, but the implication that people may take away from this is she's not so bad. She's very bad because she's a political opportunist, and I don't want to bring in her personal life because I'd like to, how she got to where she is today, because that's proof too. So
an insult to women who've worked their ass off to where they're at.
And I'll only tie that to Bill Clinton. What's the definition of is? You know, it's the same kind of mindset, the same sort of ethical imbalance as far as being a person in power. No matter what they do, they're going to double talk their way out of it. What I did really appreciate in your presentation, other than the structure and the amount of data you brought, and I will dispute a lot of those data sources. I use Open Secrets too. But what you started it off right. You don't like her. None of us like her. Is she going to help the Biden ticket? In my opinion, not really, from what it already was. Okay, so she's not going to bring in Republicans or she's not going to bring in new voters. It is what it is, and they are banking on the same idea they had in 2016. Trump bad, we're great, but we have no policy. If no one deserves to win the presidency more than Biden and Harris on their merits, I don't know who it would be. They are bringing nothing except but Trump. That's it.
Yep. And Russia did it.
Oz, and I don't like her now any more than I liked her before, and Marcus can attest to how hard I took these news.
Yes.
But we have to look at what we can work with, and the question is here: do we compare Trump and his administration to something that would have Kamala Harris in it? And I think we can work with that more.
How's that worked out? How has that worked out in the past? Honestly,
I think she's sympathetic to some of the things, but she's ultimately the ultimate politician. She's gonna do what benefits her politically, and she's gonna shy away from things that may hurt her politically. And we know that, and we have to work with that. We have to figure out how to use that to our advantage and not lose this battle.
History shows it doesn't work, Amos. That doesn't work.
It does. I see her more as a LBJ kind of character, LBJ kind of politician, and that is someone who has, because nobody knows what to make of her. You guys think that she's like all the way up to the conservative edge, and some other people think she's on the progressive end, and really, to tell you the truth, nobody really knows for sure. I think these people that are in this position have a much greater chance of moving the needle than other people if they want it. And look at how the civil rights movement was aided to by LBJ, even though he was the least likely candidate to really do so. He was fighting with the Black Caucus and all of that, and at the same time he did advance our politics. So
because of the movement in the streets.
What I'm saying is you have to look at the picture in its entirety.